Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
All of our comedy came from the fact that it was just routine bullshit, and now I've had a month to think about good goofs, and it's killing me. Is that what comedy is like? I needed to just stop everything that you were going to say, because I knew exactly what you were going to say as soon as I started that.
You can't start a sentence like that and not expect me to retaliate.
No, that's not true. Because
with good comedy.
Every time that I say what if out loud in any other context, nobody else responds with what if God was one of us. Which I think...
but they're not me.
That's true. In retrospect, maybe it's more of a them problem than a you problem.
That's true. They really need to get their life together, because obviously they're not living life right.
Agreed.
If that's not the first thing you hear. When you hear someone say what if... ...
Honestly, that's fair. Well, hi.
Hey, everyone. Back in our bullshit.
Back in our bullshit. Episode 69.
Season 2, baby. Oh my god. You're so proud of that. And I hate how much you are.
Don't you remember me screaming at you like a month and a half ago? And I was like, no, we can't put the announcement on 69. We have to do 68.5. Because... It was
so stupid. Hear me out. What if episode 69 was the sex episode?
You know, for the sex book. Just me with Fred string to very obvious conclusions. And you were
Absolutely.
Just like, yes, that's fine.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Into the Twilight, except we're not talking about Twilight anymore. We are, in fact, talking about 50 Shades of Grey. So... Feel free to leave now. This is your warning.
Don't be like that. Hey, listen. Stop. We haven't even changed the hashtag. We've just added one.
That's true. And also, people were really horny for this one on our Twitter. So.
Okay, it's true. So, don't talk about people leaving. They're very horny for this one. You know what I mean? On the sex number. Can I just say nice, like, every time that we talk today? Just, like... I want you to take that cut. I'll give you a good, clean cut. And then you can just pop it in wherever you want. Nice. Now, every time you hear it throughout this episode, it wasn't me. It was Cody's doing. You're welcome.
Nice.
Cody, how was your spring break?
It was fine. I wasn't thinking about this.
Honestly, same.
So, you know, it was fine.
That's fair. It
was less of a spring break and more of me, like, juggling all my other shit and not having this on top of it. And now we're right back, baby.
I know. Welcome to the life of having 5,000 jobs.
Yeah, baby.
It's a great life. As I let you know about a month ago, I traveled to Atlantic City and hung out with my true family.
Of course.
The Jersey Shore family.
Really got in touch with your roots.
My roots, yes.
Connected to your culture.
My teased roots, my tan skin, and my very pressed laundry. But here's the thing, folks. I am a poser because it's been a month and I haven't watched Jersey Shore at all.
Wow.
I tried to. I had it in my...
Fake fan.
I know. I had it in my planner. I was going to, and then I just didn't. And there's no excuses.
Hold on. You had watched Jersey Shore in your
Don't come for me. I have a bad memory.
The idea of you, like, writing down, like, in a physical planner, be like, hey, don't forget Jersey Shore.
I live a busy life, so sometimes you just need to schedule in me time. But instead of that, I just didn't. There's no excuses.
Yeah, you know.
This is going to be an episode full of shame for me, so I might as well just, like, get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's just start strong with the shame.
Speaking of shame, Cody, there's something very important I need to tell you.
Please.
So, in this past week, I was making the decision of whether or not I wanted to go in person to a thrift store and buy a copy of 50 Shades Grey. And I decided no, because there's no public space that I want to show my face ever doing that, because I'm a bureaucrat and I don't want anyone to have any evidence of that other than what I put out on the internet.
Aristocracy. You can't see me holding a copy of 50 Shades of Grey in public.
Exactly. So I made the worst decision, ultimately, to buy it on Amazon.
What?
For my Kindle. Listen, hey.
Dude, fucking use Overdrive or Libby. Come on, man.
I need it.
Use your library. Your library.
I need it. Anyways.
Now you're just fucking fisting fucking Bezos over.
I don't want to talk about fisting at all in this episode. Give me a week.
I can't believe you didn't expect that.
Give me a week. Let me have some elongated foreplay to get into talking about fisting Bezos. God. Please, God. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I downloaded it on Kindle. And I immediately regretted it because I opened it up and I was like, oh, this is the worst. And then you know what happened, Cody? I pulled up Spotify to listen to music while I was reading this book. And you know what happened? Oh, I got an advertisement for a fucking Bible on Spotify. They were like, you know what you need to be reading instead of this? The good book.
You know what you really need right now? Jesus.
I've never felt so called out in my whole life.
A, this is what you get for not having Spotify Premium. B,
true.
If you fucking downloaded it from your local library, it would have been fine.
I'm not saying that I didn't make mistakes in this. All I'm saying is that the government knows, and they're not happy about it.
No. I have some questions, some suggestions, really.
We have immediately deviated from our good Christian book. That isn't Christian, it's Mormon, really.
To our gooder, more Christian book.
Exactly. And the world is not happy about it.
No.
That's all I'm trying to say. So here's the thing, folks. We have to talk about the 50 Shades universe now. And I'm not ready, personally. I let Cody know a few minutes ago that I had to add E.L. James to our Google Alerts. I lost a part of my soul doing that. I do need to talk about E.L. James's author website just for like a hot second. Because there's so many fonts. There's so many literal shades of gray that I want to snap this thing in half.
Sure.
But it is important to me. And Cody, could you
tell us, you ever snap a website in half, though?
Could you do me the honor and read the tagline that E.L. James has given to herself, please?
Provocative romance.
Now, is it romance or is it romance? You know what I mean?
Sorry, did you say that? What?
The reason why I ask that is because the tagline is in 2 different fonts on her website.
Oh, yeah.
And on, like, the homepage versus the about page.
Right.
It's in, like, a script versus, like, whatever kind of fucking... Listen, I know about fonts, but I don't know about them at this moment in time. Don't come for me. Anyways, I think it's romance TM, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to discuss about E.L. James, but I had to do some research, and I've changed my mind in these past 15 minutes that I think it's going to help me if I just call her Erica to try and remember that there's an actual person who wrote these words. But yeah.
I do like to point out, scrolling through this website, at the bottom there's a search bar, and underneath that, there's a quote that says, "Laters, comma, baby." And
sorry?
What is that?
What does that mean? Who is that quoting?
I mean, my first inclination is fucking call me by your name, but that is a different thing.
What if it was, though?
What if God was one of us, you know?
Fucking goddamn it. I literally just threw something against the wall. It's
manifesting into physical anger.
I just say it all the time and I don't realize it. You're the only one who ever calls me out on it. Oh my god. Now I'm wondering how many of my students say that in their heads. You know what I mean?
Probably none. Probably 0.
That's true. But if they ever do, I'm going to stop this podcast and live in a cabin under the sea. What? No. What?
Under the sea. Welcome to our Little Mermaid podcast.
Honestly, that would be preferable at this point.
Anything would be better.
Okay, so when we're thinking about current events for this new world that I really don't know a lot about yet, there's apparently a lot of shit happening with it right now. Like, we're jumping into the middle of it. First thing is apparently the last movie, 50 Shades Freed, the DVD is coming out on Tuesday.
Get ready.
Which, not Spawn at all.
No, Actually, don't buy it.
As much as E.L. James is trying to promote it on our Instagram, please don't buy it. But, like, it's just a thing that's happening. Could you do us the honor of talking about this book club thing that's coming out in a couple weeks, though, please?
I would want nothing more.
Thank you.
Because you brought this to my attention. And I feel like the world needs to know.
The world does need to know.
There's a movie coming out on May 18th called Book Club. It is starring basically Grace and Frankie. Like, it is Diane Keaton and Jane Fonda. And it's about, like, old women who, like, have a book club about 50 Shades of Grey, and they love reading this filthy, filthy stuff.
Exactly. I've never been more intrigued by the fact that this is being made. It's coming out in 2 weeks, and I had no idea.
Fucking Richard Dreyfuss is in this? What? Craig T. Nelson? What is happening? What is going on? How did nobody know about this?
The only thing that I can come up with is it was very late. Sure. All of these famous people were sitting around each other in a weird circle like Hollywood people do. And they were like, you know what would be a funny idea? If we finally talked about 50 Shades of Grey. And then it just, like, happened. Like, it was just this bit, and nobody's been able to call out the bit. It's just gotten to the point where it's going to be released to the public. That's my conspiracy theory for today.
No, I think that's good.
Thank you.
Well, you're limiting yourself to one per day.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying to, like, live in the now. But here's the thing. Also, not Spawn, but I saw this movie yesterday called The Endless, and everything that's been everything I believe about cults and about aliens and the fact that it's out there and it's real was confirmed in that movie, which was basically just a documentary. It's all there, Cody. Like,
oh my gosh,
I can't stop wearing my tin hat because it's all real. So I'm trying my best.
I'm glad Alice Conspiracy Corner made a comeback into season 2.
When would it ever leave? You know what I mean? Oh, God. Speaking of conspiracies, though, we have a couple of conspirators on our side that have some questions for us.
Sure.
The first one, and this is kind of getting into 50 Shades, which we'll probably talk about some background first, but, like, whatever. The first question that we got was, who would win in a fistfight between Anastasia Steele and the living embodiment of Anastasia Beverly Hills?
Now, that's an interesting predicament here, right?
Yes.
Because, which we will find out, Anastasia Steele represents everything that is useless about Bella Swan.
Yep.
And the fact that she is clumsy and just scattered and scared all the time.
She's a meek human from at least these first 2 chapters.
Sure. And Anastasia Beverly Hills is known for strong brows.
Yep.
And I think that's enough. I think that's enough to get her. I think that's all.
Agreed. I feel like Anastasia Steele would be incredibly intimidated by Miss Beverly Hills, given the interaction that we're going to talk about in chapter 1. And what I cannot decide yet is internal misogyny, or she's just trying to, like, low-key hide her attraction to all of these beautiful women.
Right. Yeah.
Or both. You know what I mean? It happens.
Hey.
So I think that Anastasia Beverly Hills would definitely win.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, it's just the truth at that point. It's not even an opinion. The second question that we got is, I quote, why they gotta kill off, rip off Chardad like that? What did Billy Burke's mustache ever do to E.L. James?
I think this is less of a question and more just, like, a cry for help.
I agree.
Which, like, I feel it, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, there's a lot of dads in these first 2 chapters.
Sure.
But not Chardad. You know what I mean?
No. Hashtag not my dad.
Oh my god. There we go. I mean, that's it. Yep. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, I'm a social media strategist.
Shut the fuck up. So, just think about that.
I'm just now going to imagine everyone with a great mustache, and hopefully my experience reading this will be better than it has been thus far.
Agreed. I think the problem with what I've noticed within these first 2 chapters anyways is there's too much daddy and not enough dad. You know what I mean? What, you don't like me saying that with a straight voice?
Just in so many ways. Daddy was really weird for my ears.
Good. Enjoy it, because I think it's going to come up. I don't know if you're aware of what this series is about, Cody.
Listen, I am ready to talk about butt plugs. I'm ready to talk about fisting. You saying the word daddy is just outside of my whole brain's capacity for thinking.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think that we were both very comfortable talking about sex in all capacities, but there's a term that is going to come up in about 3 minutes that is going to literally make me want to shed my skin. So
yeah, well,
that's where we're at right now. Here's the thing. 50 Shades of Grey, the first one, was published in 2012. Where were you in 2012, Cody?
I was 15.
Oh my god.
Probably 14 going on 15. Because it was March. Yeah, so probably just living it up in, like, what, 9th grade? Late middle school? Early high school? Something like that? Yeah.
BB Cody in the city.
Yeah, that was sweet.
In March, specifically, of 2012, I was in the last few months of my senior year of high school, and I didn't have brows at that time, which is terrifying for me to think of.
Listen,
I've looked at
none of us had brows in 2012.
It's true. Let's be honest. At that point, I was not in high school anymore. Like, I was still at home during that time, but I was more focused on reading The Hunger Games at this time and not 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, probably the same.
So, I know that we've talked about this a little bit, that the 50 Shades has come from Twilight fanfiction, because I know, I distinctly remember saying the words Snow Queen's Ice Dragon out loud on this podcast before.
That cursed phrase.
What if we just refer to Erica as Snow Queen? Or like EL Ice Dragon.
Snow Queen James.
Snow Queen James. That's so much better. That makes this so much of a better reading experience. I just love the fact that this came from fanfiction and is just like doing itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I had the ebook or whatever, like they had like the about thing. It was like whatever, and it said that it had sold over 100 million copies, which is not like surprising, right? Because like I remember when this came out, and like, you know, I frequented the bookstore often, and it was always there forever for years. Yeah. It was always there, every display. Because people just kept fucking buying them. And I don't think I really put it in perspective of to how much that was. Because I looked back, and Twilight was around the same ballpark. It was like over 100 million copies, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's crazy, right? Because, like, I mean, people were buying it, but it's like, wow, it really made probably as much money, if not more, than the thing it was based off of.
And like, that's so buck wild to me.
Right.
One of the things that I want to mention, too, right? Because this is going to get into fucking this name. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know when we had first talked about this that the original fan fiction had been reworked, and then this trilogy is just like split into 3 parts. I assumed that like this first book was the fan fiction and then she just expanded from there, and that's apparently not the case. But when we're talking about the sales, right, it comes from this fan base, which I think we're familiar with just analyzing fandoms, right, which is women, like
yeah.
But specifically, right, this book, more than others that we've talked about here in this space, is for older women, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, it was written by a middle-aged woman, and I think its audience is supposed to be that. And so here's the thing. In the matter of researching this, I came across what is dubbed as, quote, mommy porn.
What? Which
is what this book falls into. Which I think is like, isn't that kind of like the Anne Rice kind of books?
Probably.
Or like the fucking any of those covers that have the men with the long flowing hair and like on a horse. You know what I mean? Because I remember that as soon as this came out, there were so many discussions about like women sitting on washing machines and like all this bullshit. Yeah. And it's like the audience that I remember reading it at that time was definitely like middle-aged to older women and not anyone younger than that.
And I think we should make it clear that like that's not a bad thing.
No.
Like hell yeah, read your like erotic fiction and do whatever you want and live your life. I will say though that the name mommy porn is objectively awful. And it makes me the worst. Hurt inside.
Yeah, I found this fucking article on CNN that literally uses that term. CNN. You couldn't have figured out anything else to title this as. Oh god, it's so bad because it gives such a connotation that is not horny literature and rather something that is like very different. Anyways, obviously as we continue this, we're going to be talking about all of the critiques here because that's where I'm coming from to reading this text. But yeah, so at this time, right, it was like washing machines. I distinctly remember seeing shit on like the Today Show talking about sales of like fucking bondage material going up and like sex toys going up and all that shit. So It's just trying to put that into context with when this fucking happened, I guess. 2012, man. It was a different time.
Man.
Obama didn't ask for this, you know what I mean? It's not his fault, you know? Here's this thing that I love about Snow Queen James. She doesn't title her chapters at all.
Thank God.
It's just like, chapter 1, we're in there. We're doing it.
Here we are.
And I hate it. It's the short review. I know I put on Twitter as soon as I opened it that, like, literally within the first 4 lines, it says submission. I was like, well, here
and,
we
like,
are,
in
folks.
a way that is, like, so unnecessary. Like, she's talking about how she went to bed with wet hair, and now, as tends to happen, your hair gets fucked up when you wake up in the morning, and you can't brush it.
Yep.
And so she's like, man, I'm trying to, like, brush my hair into submission, and you're like, sorry? Who speaks like that?
Works.
Who says that? Who would ever... No.
Yeah, first of all...
This is just
Anna,
you putting your sex thing in here.
Yeah, exactly. You just, like, highlighted words and was like, what is the sex option for this
like, this could be submission if you tried. Why, though?
Fuck. It's like, okay, first of all, Anna, get a wet brush. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And second of all, these, like, 3 sentences indicate a very distinct personality of Anna in the first page, which is, I'm trying to brush my hair into submission, and then in italics, I must not sleep with it wet, I must not sleep with it wet. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, are we talking about, because this is not the usual language you would use for someone, like, condoning themselves for fucking up their hair and making themselves, like, a mess in the mornings, right? This is very much, like, that is a compulsion that you were saying.
Right, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like, are we going to talk about, like, mental illness, like, right off the bat? Nope.
Right. Of course not. No.
It's just a fucking Snow Queen James being the weirdest.
Of course not. And, like, you can see, like, that's where the parallels really start, right? Because, like, obviously very similar to the intro when she saw Bella, like, she was very much like, who is this person I'm looking at in the mirror? And then, like, just being compulsive for most of her, like, the first time we see her.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not going to address any of it, right? No. But it is there. So, hey.
Exactly. The one thing that I wanted to mention, too, do you ever meet a person in real life that you know well whose name is as fancy as Catherine Kavanaugh?
It's a great name.
It's a strong name.
Yeah.
That's a Teen Vogue name right there.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
What I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So just keep that in mind. But I wanted to just talk about how shook I am and the fact that this book takes place like 20 minutes from where I grew up. And so every time that I'm, like, looking at all of this and, like, trying to critique it as much as I can, I'm like, well, the basics of what is in this chapter are just, like, correct. Except for that no one calls it Interstate 5. We just call it I-5. Because, like, who the fuck? But anyways.
Interstate 5.
Yeah, that sounds like definitely some British person trying to write about the U.S. for sure.
Sure.
One of the things that I want to talk about, because you obviously are still within this realm, and I just have personal experience with it. Would you ever go into a fucking interview not having looked up even the person's name on Google?
I was so infuriated. Because, like, for people like us who are not reading along, she has to fill in for Catherine Kavanaugh, who is her roommate and, like, journalist friend. She's an editor at the paper, and she's, like, whatever. But she's sick, and she can't go. So Anna has to do it. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to interview this guy. She gave me some questions, didn't give me a bio. Why would I look up who this man is? Or even look at the questions beforehand? Let me just wing it, right? Let's just... It's not something I could easily find. It's not like this guy's really famous, and you could just Google something and know just who he is and how he's related to it.
It gave me so much anxiety.
It was, like, so stressful. I was like, this is the worst.
It's so bad. Yeah, I hated the idea that she was just like, fine, everything's cool about this. I'm just gonna wing it. And then also, I mean, on my personal side, and this may not be a normal thing, but I definitely would have either had Kate or done it myself and just called the office and been like, hey, so I'm the one coming in so that not everybody calls me Kate as soon as I get there. Because that'll throw me off my groove.
Sure, yeah.
And I just feel like that's a fucking common courtesy thing.
Sure.
Especially because it sounds like this interview that they're doing is because the fact that he's, like, a fucking benefactor for the university and is going to be, like, the provost for them of just, like, handing out the fucking, like, graduation shit at their ceremony. Also, who has a Mercedes in college? Like, it's fine.
Oh my god.
You're in Vancouver. Like, chill. Like, that's not a thing here.
Relax.
So she gets this office, right? And on this first page, it says Steele, like, 14 times. So, welcome to our rating experience.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. But it's... Apparently, this office is staffed. It's not even an office, really. It's just like the tower is staffed with beautiful women. And Anna does not know how to cope with that.
No.
At all.
What are these beautiful blonde women?
It's gross, right? Because she's looking at herself and she's like, meh, meh, meh. I can't believe that I didn't wear a blazer and all I have is brown and blue on. Because I'm boring.
Like, I could never work here because I'm not blonde and beautiful.
Exactly.
Ugh.
But then she's just like fawning over all these women and just like staring at them. And it's like, Anna, it's okay. Like, I'm sure you could just be like, hey, what highlighter do you use?
Yeah.
Just like have a conversation with this person instead of like making snap judgments about them.
Sure. That's what I thought was funny about how she was describing Catherine too, because she was like, these are the reasons why she would make a perfect journalist. She's like determined and she's like, she will really get it done or whatever. And then she's like, and she's beautiful. And I'm like, what? wait. I mean,
she's not wrong.
Yeah,
as far
but
as, like, in the US, but like, what the fuck? This is your friend.
Right.
Can't you come up with anything else to say about them other than beautiful?
She's pretty, and that's why she would be good at being a journalist.
Full lips, and yeah. I mean,
I just want to kiss them.
Exactly. Fuck me. Anyways,
you can't just say that while we're talking
that's
about
true. Damn it. I need to change up my vernacular for this podcast. Because
you
can just cut that
pivot,
and use that. It's just like, fuck me. Nice. Like, just
that was all on you. You did that all by yourself.
Damn it. So she's sitting in this lobby, right? And she's like, wow, Seattle. I want to move here, but I'm just like staring at it like I've seen it for the first time, even though it's 2 hours away. And I just want to take a moment and tell fucking EL Ice Dragon for a second. Did you really need to say that Anna was momentarily paralyzed by the view? Did you? Because I don't think you did.
No.
Okay, so we need to get to this part where she's talking about the fact that she's not like other girls, aka Bella Swan.
Hello, yeah.
It's the grossest. Because she's still, like, trying to find these questions. She's like, oh, damn, I should have asked for a biography as I'm sitting in the lobby waiting for this fucking dude. She's like, I don't know. He could be 90, or he could be 30, or he could be 2. I don't know. Boss baby? And then as she's going through this, she's like, man, I really wish that I wasn't here. And I was just reading a classic British novel and just curled up in my campus library that's probably just a shed because it's WSU Vancouver, let's be honest. And it's just like, Anna, please. You're fine, but also shut the fuck up. So gross. Could you do me the honor and tell everybody what happens as soon as she walks into fucking Christian's office, please?
Well, in Bella Swan fashion, she really just bites the dust.
She just fucking disappears.
She just eats shit.
God, it's so good. It's so good. Because you know, like, she's fine. She's wearing those knee-high brown boots. Like, she didn't get scuffed up at all. It's just
right, it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
If she had been wearing, like, stilettos or something, she could have, like, broken her ankle.
Absolutely. It would have been not great.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god. Just her walking in and, like, fucking it up real hard. And, like, not knowing how to properly walk into the door. And having people, like, be like, hey, let me make sure you get out safely. Right? Mm-hmm. And then her fuddling with a microphone for 20 minutes, like, oh my god. Man, this is Bella Swan. We're here. We have not left her.
No, you can definitely tell that this is fan fiction inspired to the most.
Right.
I love this introduction, right? Because the first thing that we get about Christian, as soon as she gets in, is she looks up and all she says is, he's so young. Which, like, shut up, Anna. This is gross. So, this fucking interview, right? It's the worst thing.
Absolutely.
It's so bad.
She's ill-prepared.
She's ill-prepared, yeah.
At fault of her own.
Yep. She's in arguably the most intimidating atmosphere for a business environment because it's Christian, right? So everything is gray and white and wood and is completely sterile. And they try to make small talk about this fucking painting thing that's on his wall. And it's like, you didn't need to waste a whole page on this, but you did. she looks at him and she's like, wow, he's like Adonis. And it's like, really? Is he, Anna? Because I don't think so. Can we talk about the fact, though, that she takes like 20 minutes to set up the recorder and then asks if it's okay?
Listen, I was kind of like, all of hearing Christian Grey talk is very much like pedantic and him being like putting people down, especially Anna, and being like, you idiot girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, this was the one time where I was like, all right, you got a point here, sir, because she really just sets this thing up, struggling for so long. And then she's like, do you mind if I record your answers? And he's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say no, you spent like half an hour fucking working on this thing, I fucking guess.
You made this recorder in front of my eyes, so yeah, I guess it's fine.
You built this from nothing. You forged this audio recording.
Oh my god, yeah. So, like, obviously just underscoring the fact that this is not her expertise, right?
Right, yeah.
And
like, of course, she's like an aloof English major who was roped into this by her roommate and was just given a set of questions that she didn't even look at beforehand. And was just kind of like, here I am.
Yep.
Let's try to look like a professional in front of this hot guy.
And it's such a mood, right? Like, no, this is not my personal college experience. But the idea of being an aloof English major is very relatable to me.
Sure.
And so I get it. But here's the thing. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later when Kate gets this fucking audio transcript. Because she tells Anna to, like, take notes. And Anna doesn't take notes. She's just staring at Christian's lips the whole time. But he doesn't really give great quotes.
No.
Because he's just like... Oh, I exercise control in all things, Miss Steele. And then doesn't say anything.
Does not elaborate. And of course, because Anna has no idea how to do anything in this field, she's not going to press him and be like, what is that? Can you expand? Can you elaborate? What does that mean?
Yeah. There are not any pull quotes available from anything that he said here. Because it kind of oscillates between him trying to look her dead in the eyes and be like, I am horny and I like to tie people up, and her being like, cool, are you adopted? And then he just looks at her again. He's like, did you Google me at all before you came in? Like, listen, as much as Christian is an asshole and he says some whack shit, he's also speaking some truths here.
She spends so much of this chapter being mad at Catherine for not giving her a bio, and I'm like, motherfucker, you can do a Google. You can. It's 2012.
Like, you have a phone.
It's gonna be okay. Like, you could figure it out.
Exactly. I just love that fact that, like, it just very much underscores her inability to interview properly when she's like, so what do you do to, like, chill out, Christian?
Yeah. How do you, like, chillax, right?
Oh my god. And it's so gross because you can tell that this was written based on Edward, right? Because he says, there are people who say I don't have a heart. And she's like, why? Which, shut the fuck up, Anna. And his response is, because they know me well. And then he just smiles. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Who does that?
You're not a human being.
No.
That's not... What?
You are some fucking AI right now, Christian. And also, like, I'm trying to imagine this in a situation, right? And not imagine it too much, because I don't care.
Sure.
But enough to understand that, like, this is a man she's sitting in his tower, which, phallic, trying to get these answers out of him. And this is all he's giving her out of, like, he's done interviews before. Like, come on, be nice. Anyways. She's finally getting it after, like, 10 minutes. She's like, I can't help but think that we're talking about something else.
Like, he keeps saying things that make me uncomfortable and weird, and I don't know why that is.
He keeps saying he's a control freak, and he likes to possess things, and he also likes to, like, eat ass, and I just I don't get what's happening.
And it's so, like, you could tell when she goes off the rails during this interview, or, like, off script, right? Because, like, you could hear, like, her inner dialogue, which is her being like, control freak, you're an asshole, like, you're a control freak.
It's very good.
And then sometimes it just slips out, like, into this conversation. It's so funny.
It's very good. And I think that's the one thing where age helps between Anna and Bella, because I think there is some snark here that she actually, like, conveys. It's just she's not put in a lot of spaces where that is available in these first two chapters. Now, we do need to talk about the worst question that she asks.
Of course.
Because in her defense, Kate put this on here, but...
Like, she should have glance down and see what the next question was before she just started speaking.
Yeah.
That's a 5-word question. You could get your eyes down there, see it, say that's a bad question, and then just go to the next one and just forget it ever happened.
Exactly. And the question, if you haven't read this, which please don't, is
please.
Anna looking down at this paper, being like, yeah, that seems legit, and then staring up at him as he, like, literally has a whip in his hand, and he's like, she's like, are you gay, Mr. Gray? In what circumstance would that be appropriate? Ever. With a stranger. But also ever, in general.
Yeah. And, like, when she goes back to talk to Catherine, she's like, why the fuck did you make me ask that? And she was like, I mean, all the times he's been out in public, he's never been with a date. So, like,
so he's obviously gay.
Come on.
Shut the fuck up.
Put it together, man. Think about it.
Honestly. So anyways, it's been, objectively probably, 5 minutes in this interview because of the fact that Christian is not expanding on his answers and Anna does not know how to ask a question to save her goddamn life. But apparently, Christian had scheduled another meeting, right up against this. And so what Anna refers to as, blonde number 1 and blonde number 2, they come in and are like, hey, so your next meeting is, right now. And he's like, fucking cancel it, Andrea.
Can't you see I'm busy?
I'm doing something right now. I'm being my inner Adonis. Let me live.
It's so funny, too, because the interview with Anna only lasts for, another 2 minutes. He could have just gone to his other thing. It's like, no, I'm trying to fuck, Andrea.
Can't you tell? I turned my light on outside.
You can't just mosey in a young, impressionable brunette girl and not expect me to want to go down, you know? My whole day, cancel everything I have today.
And see, that's the thing that's, it makes him so much like Edward. He's so easily flustered that, as soon as someone comes in, he's like, oh my god, I was expecting a blonde, and it's a brunette, and I can't handle this change, and I need to journal for the rest of the day.
What do I do? I need to be in my thinking couch. I just gotta decompress. I can't talk to anyone. Leave me alone, everyone.
Objectively, Christian only has one interview every day. And then he just needs to debrief afterwards. He is apparently the CEO of the world and still just, can't handle interactions with people.
He is in control of the careers of 40,000 people. And one 19-year-old girl is really gonna throw that out of whack.
Exactly. Oh my god, also that conversation when he's like, oh yeah, I could just fucking fire half of my company and I don't give a shit. And Anna finally gets a little bit fired up and she's like, sorry, don't you have a board to answer to? And she's trying to be shook about this, not realizing that he doesn't have a board, which weird.
Yeah.
And he just looks at her and is like, fuck you.
But also, fuck me.
Exactly. He just looks over at the painting, and if you stare at it long enough, it's one of those fucking mind reader shit, and it just says fuck me in all of those 36 paintings. Christian not so subtly offers Anna a job, and she's like, cool, thanks, bye. Which I love so much.
I'm actually great, thanks.
You're weird. I'm gonna go. And
I've known you for 5 minutes. And you were trusting me with your company.
Yeah. And you just keep looking
I don't even know what you do here. I don't know what this building does. I've done no research.
Yeah, there's not even plants here. What's the point? Christian, you just keep looking at me and rubbing your clavicle. I don't understand what's happening. Anyways.
Your long fingers.
I know. She says that 5 times.
It's so gross.
Long fingers are not attractive. That's just Slender Man bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, anytime long fingers is used in text or whatever, the one thing I think about is fucking Dark Shadows when they have those weird ass long vampire hands.
Exactly.
And I can't unsee it.
Oh god. Anyways, so yeah, it does actually take 2 minutes. He could have actually gone to this meeting because he's
Absolutely.
Well, thanks and drive safe, but drive safe, Anna. He grabs her shoulders. He's like,
he's like help putting on her coat, and he like really just goes in on her shoulders, and like this is not the interaction. This is not an appropriate interaction from someone who just gave you an interview.
Yep, it's so bad. And then, okay, I know this interaction because I've seen it in the trailers before, but where they just like stare at each other as elevator doors close, and it's supposed to be this like high sexual tension moment, but it's just like a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And also it's really weird like that she would call him Christian. Like, why? I feel like this whole time she's been like, there's a professional relationship here, you are a businessman, and then suddenly, just for no reason, she's like, Christian.
I know. This whole time, like literally the page before, she's like, thank you for the interview, Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray. That's very considerate. Mr. Gray.
Yeah.
The last moment, she's like, oh, I know your name. I just saw it in the placard as we walked outside. Your name is Christian.
I love learning on the job.
I love learning. Anna Steele. Fuck. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1, unfortunately, is them just saying each other's names, like, breathless. It's gross. It's nasty. Humans are weird. If he is human, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh my god. Get your tin hat up.
I can't. It's stuck on there. I went out in the sun and it, like, fused to my head. Anyways, so chapter 2, right? It starts right off. Anna, like, has palpitations and she just doesn't understand. So she, like, goes out in the rain, which, like, first of all, it's Seattle. It was probably misting. Let's be honest. Like, get your shit together. It's been 5 minutes with this objectively creepy dude, and she says, no man has ever affected me the way Christian Grey has, and I cannot fathom why. Why do you think, Steele?
Yeah, it's...
Anyways. It's gross. I love this because it's very Bella of her, like, driving back, contemplating everything that's happening, and she just cannot... She keeps going back to that ridiculous question, being like, yeah, man, I fucked up. Which is good. I'm glad that happened. As soon as she gets back, right, Kate is like, tell me everything. The only problem is that Anna cannot figure out how she feels about Christian, which is very Bella.
Sure.
Then Kate gets, like, shook. She's like, oh yeah, I should have sent you home with a bio. That's so weird. The other thing of important plot points is Anna's version of the fucking Newton store. And it's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Because it's called Clayton's. And,
you know,
there's so much unnecessary exposition in this chapter of just being like, the fucking owner being like, I didn't think I would see you. And she's like, yep, well, I'm here. And then that's it. Like, that's the end of this little...
We have a weird, like, shift schedule thing where I can just come in whenever.
Yeah, who does that? That makes no sense. That just is, like, not how businesses work. And we find out more fucking about Kate going through this article and, like, trying to make this transcript. And she's like, wow, I can't believe he offered you a job. Yeah, Christian's creepy. So... Oh, the one thing that I forgot to mention as far as setting up plot points is, like, this is the end of their school year. I mean, obviously, because, like, graduation shit. But it's, like, she's, like, doing her finals right now. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. We do get a little bit about her family. Her mom is just like Renee, it sounds like, who just, like, you know, tries a new thing every week and has a new husband. But her stepdad, I guess, I think his name was Ray, is the one that she considers to care about and who's apparently, like, the Chardash dad in this whole situation.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like, Charlie, pure name. Ray? Really? You're going to make me think about Ray Romano as I read this book? And that's probably for the best, because now I have zero sex drive, as if I would have had any reading this.
Just think of him saying Deborah in the Ray Romano voice.
Deborah!
I'm glad you did it, because I didn't want to do it.
Oh, how could I not? How could I ever resist that? There's so many pull quotes from this fucking episode.
Yeah, more than in this fucking article. That's for damn sure.
True. Okay, so anyways, enter in Jose. Jose is our Jacob. I'm pretty sure is how this works. I'm still like connecting all of these like characters, and I think that's who
we got a whole like corkboard behind us with some string.
Exactly. And they're like buddies. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he like wants to fuck her, so it's great. So she goes to the store again, and guess who's there? But Creepy McCreeps, and he's just staring at her while she's like eating this bagel, which is very good to me. Yeah.
I wish we'd got that scene in Twilight.
I know. That would have been fun. What would Edward have bought at fucking Newton's?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
I'm trying to think about objectively something he could actually pretend like he used.
Right.
What if he just went in and bought, like, ski goggles? Do you think they have those there?
Sure. Probably not, but I do like the idea.
I
feel like he would probably... I feel like the one context is, like, probably, like, Esme or Carla would have just sent him to, like, get some shit. Because, like,
damn it.
Esme wanted to, like, decorate the house, or, like, Carla wants to make a table. I don't know.
So Edward just stares at Bella as he buys a nail gun. It's just, like, no dialogue at all.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, that's great. It's not phallic at all, Edward.
No.
You creep.
No, fucking creep.
You blushing virgin. You've probably been the one having a panic attack, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
Anyways, so Christian shows up at this fucking store, and Anna's just trying to eat her bagel and do some inventory, like, let her live. And what does he need to do? He needs to fucking buy all the sex shit. But here's the thing. As she's talking about his voice, I need to talk about this, because if someone has not read this and they don't know, it's very important. She describes his voice as warm and husky, like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel. Or something.
Horrible. Horrible.
So bad. Sounds very good, but is not... Do you consider that husky? Because I do not.
Yeah, they seem to be... Like, husky, I would think, would be like...
A pickle.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind.
No, yeah, I don't think you have to add from that. I think you got the perfect example in one.
No. His voice is like a pickle.
Like Christian Grey. Just...
Oh, vinegary and not to everybody's taste, you know what I mean?
A little bit crunchy.
A little bit. A lot crunchy, you know what I mean?
Exclusively crunchy.
Oh, God, Rachel's gonna shit herself when she hears this. He gets these things, right? And they're trying to have a basic conversation as he's buying cable ties, masking tape, and rope. And
the least subtle.
Not subtle at all. And she keeps trying to remind herself, like, don't look at his mouth, because you're gonna get blushing and be the worst.
You're gonna get trapped in the vortex and you won't be able to escape.
The only thing that's relatable about this whole thing is that she realizes when she's trying to walk around with him in the store, she's like, I'm so glad I decided to wear my best jeans this morning. It's like, fuck. Same.
My finest denim.
You know, my
Mr.
sex
Grey.
jeans.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
I need you to stop.
I need you to stop.
One thing that's crazy about this interaction is the fact that, I mean, I guess because she's blinded by how attractive he is and whatever, but, like, she really doesn't question the fact that he's there a lot, right?
No, she says it, like, once.
It's 4 hours away, and he's like, yeah, clearly there's no hardware stores in Seattle. Like,
no.
why would there be one? Clearly you gotta make the trek. Go down to fucking Vancouver. Get that high quality artisanal rope shit, right?
Artisanal rope? Shut the fuck up.
Artisanal. Because clearly the fucking stores in Seattle are not to his taste.
Yeah, it's not like Amazon was
down
right down the block and fucking Jeff could have hand-delivered his sex toys to him.
Really could have just given it to him. Yeah, no.
Really? Really, you want to go there and not follow up on anything about what you just said? Really could have given it to him?
No, I think that was good.
Alright, we'll touch on that next episode. Think about that for a while. She says it once.
Fanfiction nobody asked for.
Yeah, I mean, is that gonna be our ship this year? Because, damn. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he is the perfect capitalist, so I mean, I get it.
It's true. Yeah, she asked about it once. She's like, so are you here on business, you weirdo? And he's like, actually, I run a farm here. I'm trying to help the world. And
also, I feel like Anastasia could have called him on his bullshit a little bit, because she's worked there for 4 years and has never seen him once.
Yup, exactly.
So, like, really just think about it.
Also,
man.
She's worked retail for 4 years. Honestly, you think she'd be able to have a little bit better improv skills than she did in the interview. Fucking
That's
ridiculous.
True, yeah.
It's embarrassing. What do you do?
I'm
just
mad.
Bagels in the back, you weirdo? Is that how you've gotten through 4 years of your retail? I'm jealous. I'm just projecting at this point. He grabs the fucking masking tape. He goes over to the rope, and they're like staring at each other as she's counting this rope, right? Which is creepy and weird. And then the only thing that comes out of his mouth is he asks her if she's a Girl Scout. Weird. And then, okay, so this last part was very good to me, because he's like, okay, what else do I need? And she's like, you're the one buying death materials, you creep. And so she says coveralls. And the bitch fucking buys coveralls. I cannot. Oh, God.
He is so dedicated to the chase.
I know.
He's really committing.
I really hope he wears those when he fucks her. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying, like, I hope they make another appearance.
But
okay.
they were really, she was really like, I mean, people get coveralls, so, like, you don't get paint all over you or whatever. And he's like, I mean, you could just take your clothes off. And she's like, okay.
Like, she literally just says,
Well, and he's like,
so
yeah, whatever, I'll buy some coveralls. And she's like, all right,
so
please
bad.
get out of my store. I am so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's bad. So they talk about scheduling a photo shoot, right? Because she didn't get any photos for the fucking interview or whatever.
Another one of her faults in the reporting.
She's so bad at her job. Like, you're trying to do this for a friend and you really fucked it up. And then this dude comes in. Paul, I guess he's supposed to be the Mike Newton here, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I hate him on principle. Even though he's like from, I think it says he went to like Princeton or whatever the fuck, and he's like being super chill. But Christian loses his mind. And it's embarrassing for him.
Sure.
Anyways. Oh yeah, so he is from Princeton. Where he's studying business admin. Wow. Fucking Mike Newton, he would.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
I feel like you're projecting onto this sweet boy.
Listen, Paul's probably
Your
fine, but he's objectively the worst. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
He's not objectively the worst.
Christian Grey is objectively the worst.
I'm just saying. Anyways. So he gets all these things, and then he's being, like, super pissy as she's ringing him up, and asks if he wants a bag. It's like, yeah, put your shame in a bag, you weirdo. And then, so they end, right? And he's like, by the way, Anna, as he's walking out, he's like, I'm glad Kate couldn't do the interview. And then he just smiles and fucking puts the bag over his shoulder and just sashays away. It's like, first of all, stop.
Oh.
But then the fucking chapter ends with her just biting her lip, Bella style, just being like, wow, I think this is what sex drive is. And it's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now, if I could give you a preview, I would. But all I know about next week is that we're reading chapters 3 and 4. And that's it. I have nothing. I have nothing to give you.
I love this. I love how we're really just diving into this with no idea what's happening.
I don't like it, but
it's great. No, we're getting vulnerable and we're figuring out, like, we don't really have to be in control and know everything. Sometimes shit just happens.
Is this my version of coveralls? Think about it. Let's talk about it next
metaphysical week. Coveralls. Yeah, no, let's simmer on it. We'll come back top of the episode next week. We'll figure it out.
I don't know how to give a nice lead in for this other than, you know what also makes me say nice on 69? Our patrons. Hey, here's the thing. Should we, I don't know how to change their names.
I think we should keep these names, but any new $10 plus patron should get a 50 Shades Grey name.
I love that. I think that's very good.
So, if that's not incentive enough to support us on Patreon.
Do you want a sex name? Hey, we got it for you.
Purveyor of sex names.
Yes, exactly. That's what we do.
Alexandria Taylor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so the first one is Shannon Clearwater. Thank you so much. You're the best.
Thank you.
We're here again for you. So Thank you. Our next one, Jessica Stanley. Hi. Welcome back. Hope you had a great spring break.
Hell yeah.
And our last one, Katie Weber.
Yeah.
Katie, I'm sorry. I don't know how to say anything else other than I'm sorry.
Just a collective blanket, I'm sorry.
Yep, to everybody,
for honestly. The next 2 years of this experiment.
Yeah. Do you know who is still on their grind, though? Is fucking...
Our unpaid intern.
Our unpaid intern, Taylor Browntown, who sent me the best fucking fanfiction.
Sorry, what is happening?
That's just my soul opening up to prepare for this fanfiction. Do you not do that? Is that not... Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a word in this that I don't know how to pronounce. And it's kind of important, but we're just going to lean into it. This fanfiction is called Christian Grey Pour Homme.
That's sure.
I don't know. And it's written by a person named B.G. Heron.
Sure. Yeah.
It was published in July of 2012, and the summary is, I can really see something like this popping up in an upcoming magazine or in a really slinky television advertisement. Hope you find it amusing. Be kind. This is my first try at writing. Ever? I don't know. Who knows?
My first pen to paper.
Yes. Okay, so this is an advertisement for Christian Grey's Essence, apparently. We'll see how this goes. Okay, it says, advertisement. Ladies, who doesn't want to come home, wrap your arms around him, and take a deep breath of Christian Grey? Now you can, with Christian Grey Pour Homme Cologne for your man. In fact, you can have him any time of the day or night. Why not have your very own man smelling like jasmine and clean linen mixed with a heaty mixture of masculine woodsy greens? Even if your beloved isn't a billionaire or doesn't have a body made of pure, unadulterated muscle, that doesn't mean you can't pretend one once the blindfold is on. Bring the smell of the finest hotels in Europe and the essence of the Seattle skyline into your bedroom. Even the classically designed bottle, reminiscent of the Escala building and the clean modern lines of Grey House, is a feast to the eyes. Go on and take a deep, delicious breath of Christian Grey Pour Homme on your man. He can be all yours. Christian Grey body wash for bath and shower, also available at your finest retailers. Your man can come clean for you, just like Christian Grey. And finally, 50 Shades Aftershave, available in limited quantities, perfect to slap on during those special nights. Coming soon, and you know she can't help herself. Anastasia Parfum. And scene.
Horrible. What a horrible thing.
So first of all, not Spawn. I don't even know what the context is for your man can come clean for you, but I don't want to know. Ever.
Yeah, but I think we will. I think we have
I think we will.
As we say in Seattle.
Get bit.
Get webbed.
This is an Earbud Media production. You can find us on Twitter at Earbud Media and listen to the rest of our shows. You can find this show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, as well as intothetwilight.show. You can send us an email at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can also become a sponsor of the show or buy some merch at intothetwilight.bigcartel.com. Our art is done by Maddie Padilla, who you can find at YourGhostHost44 on Instagram, and our music is done by Eli Krause, you can find at EliSauerKrause and KrauseFilms.com. The intro and outro is by KB Smith, you can find at KB__Smith on Twitter. You can find Allie on Twitter at Into Wild Places, and you can find me at Dyke Discourse.